Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us again on another beautiful episode of Africa Update here on Trust TV, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. And this week on the program, we're going to be looking at something quite, I say dicey. I don't know if that's the word, but as the program goes on, you will decide if it's a dicey situation or not. To stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Africa Update. I'm your host, Chiamaka, Nwafor. As I said earlier, we're looking at something quite, the word I'm still looking for, but just let's get into it. Now, recently, the month of July, we saw a situation happen in Ghana. It seemed to be, a case of a turn of events, basically, really. Now, we had the protest, Nigeria must go. Let me just give you a brief background. So late July, groups of Ghanaians in Accra launched protests holding placards reading Nigerians must go, and kidnapping and prostitution and fraud and more, accusing some Nigerians of involvement in criminal activities, including ritual killings and human trafficking. Protesters claimed Nigerians, especially Igbo traders, dominated the land, markets, and allegedly fueled insecurity, a narrative widely circulated via social media videos. Now, the Nigerians' response to the issue. Our government here in Nigeria, through the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCAM, advised citizens to remain calm and avoid reprisals despite online allegations and viral footage. Now, on July 31, 2025, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegwu-Ojukwu, led a delegation to Ghana to meet with officials and community leaders, describing the situation as under control and calming fears, noting no widespread violence or public unrest had occurred. Of course, the minister's spokesperson relayed this to us. Let me give you context. Remember, in the 1980s, we had this very popular bag that depicts that. It's called Ghana Must Go. Now, the protest echoes past West African migration crisis. Now, in 1969, this is not the first time this is happening. Ghanaians expelled Nigerians via the Aliens Compliance Order. In 1983, just approximately about 17 years later, Nigeria reciprocated by deporting over 1 million Ghanaians, an episode immortalized as Ghana Must Go, and we have that popular bag to showcase it. Now, bags used by deportees lent their name to the slogan and became a symbol of mass expulsion across the region. Now, some sort of things has happened in 2025. This issue of the Nigeria Must Go is being said to be framed, the 2025 protest, as a form of retaliation for the 1983 deportations. That will be roughly about close to 37 or so years after this person is deciding that, or rather, actually, if we're being sure about that, that is actually 42 years after this person is deciding that they want to protest the situation that took place in 1983. Now, I'm going to be joined this afternoon to discuss this issue by Umaru Sanda. He is a news anchor, political analyst, political presenter over at Channel One News in Accra, Ghana. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us from Ghana to this afternoon.
Hello, Chiamaka. Always good to speak to you.
Yeah, so it's always good to have you. Now, you've heard me reel out this information, and it's looking like we're having some sort of cycle now. First, 1969, you Ghanaians expelled us away. Now, in 1983, Nigerians retaliated. Now, 42 years after, we're back at it again. Nigerians must go. What exactly is the matter? What brought about this protest?
Well, thank you so much. Ghana and Nigeria, the competition, the rivalry never seems to go, does it? I mean, you've talked about 1969 during the Second Republic of Ghana. And of course, you've spoken about 1981, where the massive deportation of Ghanaians led to a lot of issues, challenges that we had in the 83 era and all of those, and during the tenure of Rawlings. We always have our own rivalry. You do know the Jollof Wars. We just came back from Morocco, where we were hoping to meet your ladies at the finals of the African Women's Cup. Unfortunately, we crashed out and couldn't get to do that. So that rivalry always happens, and it's a very healthy one. But the issue about Nigerians must go What happened in the decades past, as you talked about, was a massive one, which perhaps had statutory endorsement, where I say the state had a specific or tacit endorsement of what should happen between. So if it was in Nigeria, the government had a say in whether Ghanaians should be exported or deported. And if it happened in Ghana, Ghanaian government had a say in whether the deportation should happen or not.
Okay.
This particular issue that we are discussing is not a government sanctioned thing, is not a state sanctioned thing. The people you have seen carrying the placards and demonstrating, they are traders. So they are members of what is called the Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA for short. And there are thousands of them operating in many, many markets in Ghana, engaging in all manner of businesses. Now, the fight they have with their Nigerian counterparts has been recurring. I remember I did a story 6 years ago at a place called Rollins Circle in Accra, Opera Square, actually, near the Rollins Square in Accra, where there was a massive agitation. There was almost like fisticuffs between Nigerian traders and Ghanaian traders. And that's the same thing that keeps repeating in all many other shops and over the period, and culminating in the protest you saw, which happened a few weeks ago. Okay. Now, the issue is that the Ghanaians are saying we want Nigerians out of the market, not necessarily out of Ghana. If you go to a town in Western Accra called Kaswa, the population of Nigerians is huge. I have had Nigerian friends and colleagues here since 2007. I mean, they came to school in basic school from 2001 thereabout, and have stayed on, finished school and left. There are others who are doing their business. If you go to Kwame Nkrumah Circle, the mobile phone retail business, a lot of it is Nigerians who are engaged in there. Like I said, if you go to Kaswa, Nigerians own property. If you go to some of our universities, there are a lot of Nigerian students there. There's been a very peaceful coexistence and cohabitation or correlation between Nigerians and Ghanaians. But this particular issue you talk about is a fight between Ghanaian traders, so they are called the Ghanaian Union of Traders Association, GUTA, and then the Nigerian traders. I remember speaking to their chairman a number of times. The Ghanaians are inspired by the law which is called the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act. So Ghanaians passed a law, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act, which is the GIPC Act. In that act, there are some businesses that are restricted only for Ghanaians. If you're a foreigner, whether you're Chinese, whether you're Japanese, you're not allowed to engage in that business. And that is retail business. So the law is very specific that only Ghanaians can engage in retail business. A Nigerian or a Chinese can engage in wholesale business. That's not a problem. But if you go to Opera Square, where I told you about, they sell electrical cables and lighting stuff. These are Nigerians engaging in that business. If you come to Kwame Nkrumah Circle, there's a lot of retail business happening. If you look at our act, the law, the GIPC Act, foreigners are excluded from engaging in petty business such as the sale or print of recharge cards, the sale of sachet water, which we call pure water on the street, running businesses on the street such as hawking, and a number of others that have been lifted. So if you're a foreigner, regardless of which country you are from, you're not allowed to engage in that. So the Ghanaian Union of Traders Association, GUTA, is saying the Nigerians are engaging in business which is the sole preserve of Ghanaians, and they want Ghanaians, or they want these Nigerians to go. Sometimes the protest gets a bit confrontational, and even people get hurt. The last time I covered it.
Sanda, before you continue with that, why exactly is this law put in place? I understand.
Oh, it's the GIPC Act. I do not remember. I think it's 2016 or so. Actually, it's before. I think it's 2015. I do not have the year exactly, but it's an existing law. It's been existing for more than 10 years now, and it is called the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act, GIPC. It is essentially a law that has been created to ensure that investors can come into Ghana, but before you engage in business, you should have so there's a checklist. If you're a foreigner engaging in business in Ghana, you must pump a certain amount into that business. Otherwise, you are not allowed to open.
Okay.
So that the amount will be huge. You have to employ at least 20 Ghanaians to work with you.
Okay.
And I do not have the law readily available, but some of the things I remember from the provisions is what I've just said to you. There's a law that's supposed to make doing business for Ghanaians favorable, even when a foreigner comes to do business. Now, the Nigerians that these Ghanaians are fighting, they run container shops. I don't know if you have those in Nigeria, but here in Ghana, we have a lot of container shops where people are selling all manner of items in there. But in the defense of the Nigerians, what they have said is, listen, I am not a foreigner. The fact that I'm called Chiamaka doesn't mean I am a foreigner if I'm a Ghanaian citizen. And they said that, for instance, my name is Chiamaka, but I've married Amakojo, who is a Ghanaian woman. And by the laws of Ghana, I'm Ghanaian.
Okay.
And or some would say, the shop you see me sitting in front and selling, that shop belongs to my wife, or it belongs to my husband.
Okay, so you're
or it belongs to my father-in-law. That's the defense that the Nigerians put up, and that has been the bone of contention and the fight.
Let's pause a bit. Does the law allow in Ghana that by virtue of marriage, citizenship is passed on to a spouse?
Yes, if you look at Article 6, Chapter 3 of the 1992 Constitution, and even if you look at the Citizenship Act, there are a number of ways of acquiring citizenship, and marriage is one of them.
Okay.
If, for instance, I being a Ghanaian, I marry Chiamaka, who is a Nigerian, Chiamaka automatically becomes Ghanaian based on the if the necessary documentation is signed and it has been proved that the marriage was not contracted solely for obtaining citizenship. Okay. The citizenship laws of Ghana allow. So a lot of Nigerians say the shops that you see us running don't belong to us as a person, belongs to our spouse, or belongs to our father-in-law. The fact that I see me sitting in front of the shop and selling doesn't mean that I'm foreigner. So that has been the fight. And I have had a cause to interview the leader of the Nigerian traders in Ghana, and this matter has gone all the way. I think it actually came to the ECOWAS court in Abuja some time back. I do not know what the situation is. But again, Nigerians also say, listen, the ECOWAS protocols allow for free movement of trade, business, and commerce and persons. So why would you be stopping us, and why would you be fighting us? That's what's happening.
I was going to go there. If we have the ECOWAS for the Economic Community of West African States, the word there, economic, means that everything economic. So it means I should be able to move into Ghana and do business. Now, I said that the people of Ghana, wonderful idea, trying to protect the interest of their people. Beautiful. We love that. Wonderful. However, doesn't that negate some of the ECOWAS law? Doesn't that equally itself negate the Africa Free Continental Trade Agreement? We've come into certain agreements. If we're now saying, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you can't do that, then what are we doing exactly?
Well, it's interesting. So Ghana actually hosts the Africa Free Continental Trade Center, the AFTA Secretariat is here in Accra. We are signatories to the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of goods, services, and persons. But there is a but, and so there is always an exception to every rule. The fact that you're supposed to do business freely doesn't mean that you can do every kind of business, And again, local law always overrides international conventions. So that if an international convention like the ECOWAS protocol is not ratified by Ghana, it cannot be binding. Even if it is binding, or if it is ratified and is binding, if there's a local Ghanaian law which contravenes that law to the extent of that contravention or contravening angle or article, that the Ghanaian law supersedes. Don't forget that the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of goods and services restricts human beings to the number of days. For instance, I'm a Ghanaian, I hold an ECOWAS passport just like you do, both of them looking green. They write CDAO on it, or Economic Community of West African States. If I come to Nigeria, I don't need to get a visa to come. But if I come to Nigeria, there are a certain number of days, is it 60 or 90 days, I should leave back to my country. I cannot stay beyond that unless I get a residence permit. But these things don't happen. A lot of them are lost. But when I went to Calabar, for instance, in Cross River State in Nigeria, I saw a lot of Ghanaians running shops, and this was many years ago in 2015. I saw Ghanaians doing their own business over there.
You see
I'm
that?
not sure that these people have gone for resident permit. I don't know. And I'm sure the same thing also happens here in Ghana, where there are Nigerians who are doing business, who are living here for years and who have not necessarily gone for resident permit. So our laws are generally loose, but what these Ghanaian traders are saying is that keep the space for only Ghanaians, and we will not allow Nigerians to be in there. And that's why Nigerians must go.
All right, I've seen you've talked to us about the crux of the matter, and time is not really on our side. But now, one of the other issues that kept coming up in this protest is end kidnapping, end prostitution, and ritual killings, and they're targeting and they're putting these things on Nigerians. So my question to you now, in recent times so far, I know there's been a lot of scandals in the country in terms of frauds and all that, and generally the security issues. So far, in all the arrest meetings, say the last 5 years, what's the percentage of Nigerians that are actually caught in prostitutions or ritual killing or kidnapping or fraud?
Okay, I will not be able to give you a percentage because I don't have statistics to support that. Okay. But I can say to you that a lot of the times when we do the news, the issue has to do with the persons who have been arrested, and sometimes some of them happen to be Nigerian. Now, how do you know whether the person is Nigerian? Possibly because of the person's name. So if the person is called Emeka, for instance, Ghanaians don't really name Emeka, so you may think it's Nigerian. But the issue of citizenship transcends ethnicity and names. So I do not know whether they test them by checking their citizenship to show whether they are Nigerians or not. But I can say to you, I mean, just a few weeks ago, there was this issue of kidnapping where a Ghanaian lady was sent all the way to Nigeria. And there was a collaboration between the Ghanaian and Nigerian authorities. And the people who did the kidnapping were actually arrested. And then the kidnapped lady was brought back to Ghana. That happened a few weeks ago. Yeah. If you Google the story, you would see it. Yeah. And there are also issues of ritual killings. These things happen a lot of the time. We hear about them. If it comes to cyber fraud, there are lots of times where people are busted and you look at the names, and even sometimes the police will say to you that these are Nigerians. I cannot say this is so much in terms of percentage or so less. I do not know that as I sit here. But I can say to you that it happens. 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, there was this whole controversy about an Igbo king in Ghana. That became a big issue after it emerged that somebody, and you can Google that story again and you see claiming to be a chief or a king here in Ghana, supposedly owning land. But he has come out to say it was not true. So these issues do come up, and you know how media kills reportage when it does so sometimes on minority groups. So sometimes it may be fair, sometimes it may not be unfair. The issue of prostitution, for instance, prostitution is illegal in Ghana. Soliciting for sex on the streets is illegal. So there could be Ghanaians involved, there could be Togolese and Nigerians. As them, the police may say to you that this person is this or that.
Okay. Sanda, we need to wrap up. Time is not our friend right now, and we need to end the show at this time. Thanks so much for joining us today on Africa Updates, sharing your insights on the matter, giving us more context of the situation, really.
My pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for speaking to me from Accra.
And that was Umaru Sanda from Ghana talking to us. When we come back from the break, we'll be taking a look at 5 iconic women celebrating Africa Women's Day on the 31st of July 2025. To stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Africa Update here on Trust TV. Now, before the break, we had Umaru Sanda from Ghana talking to us about the situation in Ghana with those protests. Nigeria must go. He's giving us a brief idea of really what's happening over there and then all that. Now, I told you that we're going to be looking at celebrating some beautiful, wonderful women. July 31st was Africa Women's Day, and DW has put together a story about 5 women from building billion-dollar industries to saving generations from poisoning. These 5 African women are transforming lives, rewriting laws and standing up for justice. On Africa Women's Day, this is a story they've done. Let's take a look.
July 31 is Africa's Women's Day, and here are 5 amazing women you should know about. Phyllis Omido got Kenya to abandon its nuclear energy projects this year because of its impact on natural habitats and local communities. But that's not her first fight against big corporations. More than a decade ago, she got a toxic lead factory shut down. The plant was poisoning her child and her community. She won the prestigious Goldman Environmental Prize in 2015. Maimouna Ba works on the front lines in northeastern Burkina Faso, where violence has displaced thousands. She helps children continue their education with income-generating projects. The UN Refugee Agency (HCR) awarded her the Nansen Prize for her efforts in protecting refugees and displaced people. Dr. Eleni Gabriel-Medhin is an economist who transformed agricultural trade with the creation of the Ethiopia Commodity Exchange, the first of its kind. By creating transparent, efficient systems, she helped farmers gain fair prices and built a thriving market. The exchange turned commodities trading in Ethiopia $1.4 billion success in just 4 years. She also founded Blue Moon, a youth agri-tech incubator for the next generation of agricultural entrepreneurs across the continent. Bogolo Kenewando is Botswana's Minerals and Energy Minister. The trailblazing economist came to prominence as a cabinet minister in her early 30s, but her real impact is in her bold stance in renegotiating Botswana's long-standing agreement with De Beers, the global diamond giant. For decades, De Beers had access to Botswana's diamond mines under a highly secretive deal. Kenewendo pushed for more transparency, a larger share of the revenue for the country, and greater involvement of citizens in the full diamond value chain. She campaigns for Africans to take ownership of their natural wealth on their own terms. Rebecca Gyumi took Tanzania's government to court in 2016 over a law that allowed girls as young as 14 to marry with parental consent. Due to her work, the High Court ruled the law unconstitutional and raised the legal marriage age to 18 for both boys and girls. This year, she was part of a group of civil society organizations that fought for girls to be able to return to school after pregnancy.
And that's it for the program today on Africa Update. I hope you've been inspired. And for every woman out there, happy Africa Women's Day. You're inspiring. You're wonderful. Keep doing you. Keep being great. That's the package we have for you today on the program. I've been your host, Chiamaka Nwafor. For more of our programs, documentaries, and news, don't forget to follow us on our YouTube channel and on our social media platforms. Same time, same place next week. Bye for now.